Hello, friends around the world. This is Josh Fossgreen again with another installment of Life on the Ship. Today I want to talk about what it's like being a musician on the ship. So one big difference between the big ships and this ship is that we only have one band on this ship. Actually, two bands. But like one main band that does the different things like production shows. Singers do cabarets. We play dance sets. People from the orchestra do all the solo sets. The pianist, the guitar player, and I all trade off on different solo sets. The other band that's on board is a Filipino trio called Nature Rhythm, and they just know hundreds of songs like pop, rock, reggae. It's amazing. Their vocal harmonies are great. They're all really cool guys. But they only do like the nature rhythm thing. They don't fill in any other gaps. So we're basically this one Regent Signature Orchestra is like the band on the ship because we're just small enough to do that. Which means that I play a lot. I play like 2 or 3 shows a day, 7 days a week, and I doubt that I will have a day off until I leave, which is awesome for the most part. And some days, I don't work till like 9:30 in the evening or something, so it can still kind of feel like a day off, even if it isn't really one. Another difference between this ship and bigger ships is with the bigger ships, when you do a production show, you have to kind of split the guests up and actually do more than one run of the show in the evening to get everyone in the theater. We don't do that here, so I appreciate that because I don't like doing the same show twice in a day. It's just like I feel like there's a glitch in the matrix or something. It's just too much for one evening. An important part of this gig is being flexible as a musician. This isn't something they audition you for, unfortunately, because it is sometimes an issue. But you need to be prepared for things to change, which means that you need to not be too attached to things going the way you want them to, and it also means that you need to be paying enough attention to know if things are changing. A good example of that is if a singer misses their cue and they come in early or late, you probably need to follow the singer. Especially, if it's like a vocal focused tune, which most songs with singers are. So you need to be paying enough attention to notice that they didn't come in where they're supposed to, which means you need to know where they're supposed to come in. And it also means that you need to just be okay with, a weird thing happening and you move on and you make the song sound as good as you can. Don't play the chart by the ink just because you want to be right, because it's not right if it doesn't sound good. Another example of where flexibility is an issue is in rehearsal. If we're not following the chart exactly, or you need to write in new chord changes or whatever, don't moan about it. It's gonna happen whether you moan or not. Just be flexible. If you're not good at this, you probably shouldn't work on cruise ships. Find a cave where they don't make you do anything you don't like. I want to make this short because it's so silly, but you should know how to clip your music to your stand so that it doesn't blow away when you're playing outside. Recommended technique by Josh: 3 clips, not paper clips, clothespins or binder clips will function. I clip across the left top, the right top, and then either the bottom left or the bottom right, depending on where the wind's coming from. Definitely need 3 clips because 2 across the top, it's just going to flip up and you're not going to be able to see anything. This method will work for up to 4 pages on a single music stand. So if you're one of those guys who just can't get it together, use Josh's magical technique, and you'll be able to play a lot more notes than if you can't see your chart. I think that the most important thing that I want to talk about in this video isn't really related specifically to playing on a cruise ship, although I've experienced it playing on this ship, in the last month or so. But it's something you can experience at any gig, and it's, I guess, something that I could call the soul suck factor. Um, and basically, the way I experienced this is that, um, for whatever reason, like whether it was like all the corporate training or just like what I think about these guests or what people on the ship have said about the guests or whatever, I found myself making an assumption about the people I was playing for that they don't want to hear music the way I like to play it. So I found myself playing this kind of polite version of the way Josh plays bass. Um, and in some places it's just like very subtle. Like the 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 oral difference might not even exist. It's just a matter of my own perception as an artist creating in that moment. And sometimes it's really noticeable to me. Like I'll just make very different choices in a solo or in a bass line or something, like in terms of busyness or like how much I'm interacting with other instruments or whatever. So I found myself in this place a few days ago, just after kind of unconsciously like diving further and further into this kind of soul suck factor. And then I realized what I was doing, and I just thought, wow, this is really dangerous. Um, I just imagine that anybody working on ships or in other environments that aren't really openly artsy, um, that you can just destroy your love for making art if you're not mindful. And I was totally traveling that path. It felt like the dark side. It's terrible. So I realized, man, I cannot play music this way. So I decided to take action, and the next day, kind of after I just there was kind of an apex to that realization, and the next day, my first, just this, all the sets I had that day, I just decided I'm just gonna play the way Josh wants to play today. And what I find when I do that is not that I start playing bass solos all the time or whatever, you know. If anything, I think I play something that would be more acceptable, even if my audience does want this like crappy polite music. But what's really important is that I find a way to do it that's within my artistic integrity, that like feels good to me, where I still feel like I'm growing and learning, just doing what I do as an artist, which is to find interest in the moment. And man, I just had such a better day, and that's luckily that's continued. It didn't take a lot of work to stop investing in the soul suck factor. But if you're going to work on a ship, or if you're going to play at corporate mixers or weddings or whatever, any context where your audience might not just be there to hear whatever you want to play, um, be careful about what assumptions you're making about them. For example, as I'm making this video, or when I play solo bass shows at home, or when I play with my French music trio Un Deux Trois, um, I just assume that whatever I'm interested in is interesting to my audience. And that seems like a pretty good assumption based on the feedback I get. And it might not always be true. You might be totally bored by this video, but and that's important to me to the degree that I can improve from learning about your reaction. But also, I don't care. I really like this video. So I hope you like it too. And I think you do. It's really important to be in that place as an artist, or there's just so much censorship that takes place either at or beneath the surface of your consciousness, of your conscious awareness. Because man, don't get your soul sucked out. If you have that calling to be an artist in you, like, you just gotta go with it. And sucking your soul out, you will recover no matter how much your soul is sucked out. I believe that you always have the tools that you need to be on your path, but it's not fun. It's not fun to hate every solo you play, and that's how I felt for like a week or so before I had this realization. So, yes, I think that's probably the most important thing I've learned about playing music on a cruise ship.